There are two big reasons why Lando Norris taking himself out of the 2025 Canadian Grand Prix is a very bad thing. The first thing is it exposes his poor racecraft. We have already known this before, but this just cements the fact that this guy, even with a faster car, can't overtake for shit. The only way he can win the world championship is by starting from pole position, and right now he's also fucking up at that. So he can't overtake for shit. It exposed his weakness, which is going to help other rivals, other team drivers, including Oscar Piastri as well. The second thing is, now that he has known that he made the mistake and he has admitted the mistake, he apologized to Oscar and the team. Now he's going to indulge in a ritual of self-torture, which is going to send him in a downward spiral, and he is more likely to repeat this type of dumb mistakes despite having the best car on the grid, literally. So first, let's go ahead and take a look at how Oscar Piastri defended, how well he defended, and what Lando should have done. And a lot of people will say that, well, if it doesn't matter, hindsight is always 2020. In hindsight, you can always do things differently. But the thing is, Lando Norris has more experience than Oscar, and he should know better. So that's why it's important to discuss that what a mature driver should do when fighting for the world championship. So here we are seeing Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris behind him. And here, Oscar kind of allows Lando to go into the inside, go deep, so that when Lando tries to correct himself, Oscar can do the switchback. As you can see, again, Lando goes deep, allowing Oscar to do the switchback and get the inside line for the chicane that is coming in a few hundred meters, I think it's a kilometer or something. What Lando should have done here is to park the car at the entry of the apex, like slow it down a little bit more, not carry that much momentum, and force Oscar to walk parallelly with him through the hairpin and prevent him from basically getting this inside line. Now in the straight, things are pretty straightforward, and both of them I think have DRS, yeah, and Lando Norris is momentarily ahead of Oscar Piastri, so which means that the kids got the speed, and Oscar late braking, and he's the first one to go through the chicane. This is an important observation because Oscar Piastri could have also braked late at the hairpin and tried to hang around the outside, but he knew that losing position at the hairpin is okay as long as he is going to do the switchback and get to the apex of this chicane first. So he executed the defensive move beautifully, something that Lando Norris wasn't able to read. And now let's see the most important moment. So here, one of the things that Lando should have done at this very stage is fake a left and then go right. If he fakes a left, then typically Oscar Piastri would go left and, defend the inside line. What Lando would have done is he could have parked the car right on the middle of the track, squeezing Oscar as much as possible into the inside line, which is not as ideal. Like if you're completely squeezed to the inside line, I mean, the inside line is typically the more dominant line, but when you're very much squeezed to the inside line, it messes up your braking zone. So it's gonna be harder for you to brake efficiently into the corner. That would have been the right way. Another approach is obviously fake a right, but I don't think Oscar was going to fall for like faking a right and going to the left. I think he would have defended the inside anyway. But if there is a driver who is hell-bent on defending the inside, who is not Max Verstappen, who is your teammate and who races by papaya rules, what you need to do is you need to fake a left and force Oscar Piastri to immediately cover the inside line. Because right now, Piastri is cruising to the racing line towards the left. And this is giving more and more opportunity to Oscar to successfully defend this position once again into turn one. And obviously at this point you have to bail. At this point you cannot go flat out. You have to go to the left because Oscar is clearly on the trajectory towards the left. Lando misjudges it, hits the car, and then gets DNF'd. That's the first thing, and we have already seen multiple examples of Lando struggling to overtake. His overtake on Lewis Hamilton in Saudi Arabia, Jeddah, was a little bit fun to watch. They were playing DRS games. Oscar Piastri didn't even give a fuck about that. He just overtook Lewis Hamilton without DRS around the outside in the dirtier part of the track in the same Grand Prix. So that's an interesting observation. Another point of weakness of Lando's overtaking incapability comes from the Miami Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri primed Max Verstappen for lap after lap after lap. After Max Verstappen had a lockup, Oscar Piastri was able to go through quickly. Oscar pretended to go around the outside into turn 1, which forced Max to brake deeper and deeper every single attempt. Because Oscar knew overtaking Max Verstappen from the outside is not going to work. But Lando Norris, he's a dumb motherfucker. He hung around the outside in Miami. And obviously Max Verstappen is Max Verstappen. He's going to push you out of the track. Even with tires that are worn out from fighting Piastri, even with tires which suffered a lockup when fighting Piastri, Max Verstappen was still able to retain Lando for exactly the same number of laps as Oscar Piastri in the Miami Grand Prix 2025. So again, this is not the first time that Lando Norris has fucked up a very easy slam dunk overtake. He could have just stuck around the outside, and the chicane after the first turn, he would have had the inside line to that. So he could have done that. He definitely had the pace. He could have braked late. But obviously, he is incapable of making this type of overtakes well. And this is a problem, especially when you're fighting for the world title and your only rival is your teammate, who is already way ahead of you in the championship standings. Norris's crash only helped Verstappen because Verstappen was already finishing ahead of both of these guys. And now Verstappen has closed the gap to Piastri and Norris. I think if Red Bull get their shit together, it's going to be a Verstappen versus Piastri battle for the world title, but I guess we will see when the time comes. The second part of this equation is Lando Norris's downward spiral has begun. So now he is going to go home and beat himself up and, call himself stupid and dumb and, not good enough and these type of things. And Nico Rosberg talked about this. Like, if you go ahead and say this, you're going to go to a dark place. He says this here. The thing is, it becomes a little bit traumatic at some point because you start spiraling negatively, down and down. And you get this repetition of making mistakes. I'm not good enough. I'm making mistakes. You have to let these things go. You have to, when you're fighting for world championships at this high speeds and, stakes are high, it's high pressure situations, you kind of have to let yourself go. You kind of have to shrug your shoulders and be like, you know what, shit happens. If Max Verstappen makes mistakes, he never outwardly says that I fucked up. He says that, well, these are the things that you don't want to happen, and it's unfortunate, really. I spoke with him and we have nothing in common, and it is what it is. I guess we just now have to move forward. This is something that Max Verstappen says. And when you change the negative into like an it is what it is and we have to learn from it and move forward, it has a good impact on the head. When constantly Lando Norris just beats himself up, it's good that you are honest. It's good that you are, open with the team and you're, very transparent about the mistakes that you are making. But at the same time, you have to understand that you are not here to fuck around. You are here to win championships. And if you're winning, if your goal is to win championships, you're going to get into crashes. You're going to, make mistakes. There are going to be fuck ups. And Nico also explains somewhere, he says that, like, if you say the negative over and over again, it registers in your subconscious as well. Words cast spell, that sort of thing. So he says that. That's why I would strongly recommend that he reduces that. That means, negatively beating himself up, like almost in a religious way. Not always the negative. Even when he is on pole, he talks about the one corner he messed up, and he is on pole. Just cheer about the brilliant performance, more positivity. And this is a very critical point. When, it's okay to be critical of yourselves because that's the only way you grow. It's important to be absolutely honest with yourselves because that's the only way you can find out your flaws. But at the same time, like when things are done and the result is positive, let's just focus on that. It doesn't matter if you screw up a corner or two because you are on pole. It doesn't really fucking matter. Max Verstappen does the same. Like, for example, in the 2023 Monaco Grand Prix, Max Verstappen put in the best pole lap because of the last sector. He was down 2 tenths by the time he completed second sector in 2023 Monaco qualifying. In the last sector, he made up 2 tenths and secured pole position. After that, he was like, "Oh, I didn't knew. I was just sending it. I knew that I was behind." And he was not beating himself up that I fucked up the first 2 sectors. He was happy that despite fucking up the first 2 sectors, you have to focus on the positives. You have to reward yourself like mentally in a good way. So overall, Lando Norris problems when he said that it's all my bad, all my fault, unlucky, sorry, stupid from me. All you have to do it, like he didn't need to say stupid from me. He just said that, oh, I misjudged it. That's it. When you go ahead and beat yourself down over and over again, you are giving yourself a huge disadvantage in the championship fight, because right now Oscar Piastri knows Lando can't overtake for shit. Right now Oscar Piastri knows that his defensive driving is better, especially after like that switchback at the hairpin. That was the most impressive thing, because he let him go and then he did the switchback. So Piastri is now beaming with confidence. He's way ahead in the championship standings. He is 43 points clear of Max Verstappen, who, let's be real, is actually the real threat. Lando Norris is only here because of the pace of the car. He is quick, but like if you have to fight tooth and nail to win championships, he's probably ain't winning. And the biggest kick in the nuts for Norris will be Oscar Piastri winning the World Championship this season, because Norris has been here longer. Red Bull need to get their shit together to give Max Verstappen a good car, because we still need an exciting fight. And Norris is not going to provide us that. He's going to make dumb mistakes like this, which is good drama, good for the television. The media guys are going to have a field day, but Norris is the type of guy who can only win from pole position. And right now, with Oscar putting the pressure on him, he's not even able to do that. He's not even like able to consistently qualify for pole. Earlier, he used to be very good at qualifying. Like if you look at the stats, teammates head to head, Lando Norris was way ahead of Piastri in qualifying. But right now, with the pressure on and with his, negatively spiraling mindset that he has, in which he continues to beat himself up and refuses to look at the positive, even when he is on pole, even when he's winning, he's always like, oh, it needs to be perfect. You are never going to be perfect, my friend. But either way, we need a good fight. Presently, the only exciting fight is between Max Verstappen and George Russell for P3 in the driver standings. So I guess we will see. Why the fuck did I click on that? So yeah, I guess we will see the battle between Verstappen and Russell. But if Red Bull get their shit together, then he should definitely be able to take the fight to Oscar Piastri. And that's what we want to see. We want to see a duel till Abu Dhabi. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.